Rick, let's start with the power play. Third period, you get the 4-minute penalty, you get 6 minutes of power play time, and just not much in the way of quality looks. How did you see it?
Yeah, we just looked at it, me and Yogi, the coaches, were a little frustrated. There was a lot of plays there to be made, we just didn't make them. There was, it was a little bit slow. We needed somebody to take charge of it. There was opportunities that, they had 3 guys on one of our guys. If it goes low, we should attack. I mean, there's just plays there. I don't know if we're tired or our thinking process, but I agree. We didn't get much.
You mentioned fatigue. I know you're one that doesn't like to use schedule as an excuse, but it felt like after you guys got up 1-0, they maybe took the game over a little bit. Any thoughts on why?
Well, I mean, it could be fatigue. Maybe I don't know if they took the game, or I didn't think they had a lot of chances. It's a 1-1 game going to the third. We got 6 minutes of power play. We're talking about moments, so I don't think they took over the game at all. I think they had some. They got good players. I mean, your NHL hockey teams you play against, they're going to get their moments, but 1-1 game, 22-hour turnaround. We have 6-minute power play. We don't get it done. That's the game. Bottom line.
On that power play, Rick, their penalty killers were obviously very aggressive at the top of the umbrella.
Yeah.
Do you have to find a way? Is there space?
You go down low, and we have a 3-on-2 or 3-on-1. It's plain as day. It's been told. I will say we're a little frustrated, the coach staff, because when you go hard up high, the puck has to go low. You got to make a play. It's there. So, I think we're a little bummed out about that.
And I know you spoke about this earlier today. Yeah. Phil Hedl hadn't been scoring lately for you, but he certainly was skating and transporting the puck. How much does it hurt not having him now?
Yeah, it's weakens your center position a little bit. He's a speedy guy. So you lose some speed in the middle. It does hurt short term, 100%. Yeah. Yep.
The one goal that you do get, you have layers of traffic, DeBrusk and Besser and the Utah players there. In the power plays in the third period, when you were generating shots, there didn't seem to be any traffic there. Is that a matter of needing to make the right read, wait, have the patience?
Yeah, it's probably read. I mean, yeah, it's read. There's you got to buy 2 guys. You got to have somebody in front of the goalie's eyes and a second stick. So, maybe fatigue, pressure. Some guys handle pressure differently. Reads, are different. But it's a 1-1 hockey game. Like I said, they didn't get that much, and we had a 6 minutes of power play, so didn't get it done. We lost the game. That's the story.
And with Hedl coming out, Lekramaki goes back in. He's a guy who, in Abbotsford in particular, has thrived on the power play. Was there any thought to mixing up those power play units when things weren't clicking, and perhaps giving Lekramaki more of an opportunity with some of your top players?
Well, we scored our power play. I'm not going to, no. You got to. I'm going to take Besser off. I mean, I got to get him going. We have to go with the guys we're going. But I think he got some at the end. Lettermacky. That's not the answer, but he will be eventually. Yeah.
Coach, we know what this game meant in the standings. What are you saying to your guys about the standings right now?
Well, you got to let it go. It's no different. You lose in a playoff game. We got to flush this down. Are we disappointed? Yeah, but you have to flush this down. We got a big Winnipeg team coming in. And we got a day off tomorrow. We got to get some rest and get some energy. It's game to game from here on in. You can't take this. I'm sure we're a little disappointed right now, but we got to come in the next day when we come. I guess it'll be the morning skate. We got to bring energy because you can't be down. Play a roller coaster. You got to let it go. Tough to do, but you got to let it go.
And that said, do you want your guys looking at the standings? Do you want them thinking about where they are, where other teams are, or do you want them to just be locked in on themselves in the here and the now in this team?
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I mean, obviously, guys watching games, scoreboard watch, but I think really you got to worry. We got to figure a way. What happened? When the pressure hit us, we had 6 minutes. What happened? Why did we make those reads? Why can't we make those reads? That's what we got to learn in the next 48 hours, and that's where guys have to do their homework and understand. If this happens again, we got to rise to the occasion. That's really what it comes down to. So it's a learning lesson.
There wasn't a lot going offensively. It's one of those things where the legs and you don't have the oomph that you normally have. You need to rely on your details and things that are preached, and we just didn't do a good enough job tonight, honestly. I thought that Utah obviously plays a lot of speed through the neutral zone, and that's where they generate their offense. And I thought for the most part we were pretty decent there, but I think that we just didn't really force. We tried. I'm not saying that, but just didn't force it enough, obviously, and came up short.
Disappointed that you couldn't create more quality looks with all the power play time you had in the third?
Yeah, that 4-minute power play pretty much. There was lots of time left, but I guess looking as fresh as now, it's we got to bear down on that. That's on all the guys that are on the ice, and I'm included, obviously, and that's unacceptable.
You had a couple of results here that have gone positively. How frustrating is it to not be able to build on that, maybe separate?
Yeah, obviously that's what you look at. You look at the standings, obviously, before the game, and it's a tight turnaround, but obviously trying to distance ourselves from teams. It seems like it's pretty compact, obviously. So to not be able to do that, we got to lead, and kind of in that fashion, obviously stings, but you move forward. You have to. That's what playoff mentality is all about. Is try to stay even kill, even when you can kind of tell a game script isn't really going your way, and just try to stay focused on the next shift and things like that.
Given the schedule you guys have had, was fatigue a factor? It seemed like once you got up one, they might have taken the game over a little bit.
Yeah, but every team deals with that. That's I feel like that's an easy excuse in some territory. We knew we had to play a certain way, obviously. But in saying that, I think I said it a little earlier, when things aren't really going the way that you want it to go, person or a team or just feels a little out of sync, you got to rely on your details and things that inside the system that will give you opportunities even when you're not necessarily at your A game.
I know Chicago isn't Utah, but are you surprised you weren't able to build on what you did offensively yesterday, given the number of guys who broke out a little bit?
Yeah, obviously it's every game's a different story. I think that there's different ways that teams defend, obviously, and there's different types of things going on. And I think that usually that's a good sign. You guys are feeling good and things like that. But when you play a game less than 24 hours, like I said, it's just different sets, different systems. They play pretty aggressive on the walls. And they've kind of really neutralized us coming out of our own zone. So obviously there's different types of looks you get when they limit things that I guess we're good at.
When their PK is aggressive as they were on your top three at the top, should you be able to take advantage of space down low? Is there space down low to take advantage?
Yeah, I think that's something that we talked about. Obviously trying to get that look, it's a lot easier said than done, but they were very aggressive up top, and as a down low guy, I got to be better at getting open. I got to just I like to say that word. I just got to just pop open to spots. You got to kind of read the play one step ahead. Me and the guy in the bumper, who was Brock, we got to kind of read off each other in that sense better. Obviously, it's not all on them. We got to give them options, and we didn't, and that's kind of what happened.
Heedle wasn't scoring, but he certainly was transporting the puck and skating and backing up the other team. How much does it hurt your team not having enough?
Yeah, he's missed. For sure. Obviously, just his speed. It's one of those things where everyone likes to look at stats, but if you're looking at the eye test, he's a player that, like you said, pushes the pace in the neutral zone, especially, which keeps teams honest, especially on line changes and things of that nature. But yeah, he was sorely missed, and hopefully he's back soon.
On the one goal, you and Brock are providing traffic at the front. That last power play didn't seem to be any traffic on any of the shots. Is that a matter of timing? Is that a matter of reading off of each other? Why couldn't you get traffic on that last one?
Yeah, well, we didn't really get shots either, in fairness. So, it's kind of hard to read when there's, puck battles and things like that. They pressure hard, like we were saying earlier. And, I got to do a better job of getting there. That's my job. So, but yeah, I was definitely misreading it, obviously. It pisses me off when I'm not there and it arrives. That's where I'm good. But in saying that, I think that the looks that we were looking for, I think we just overthought things, honestly. I think with that much time, you just got to keep it simple. You got to get pepper shots, get recoveries, and go from there. But it's easier to say than to do, and obviously we didn't do the job.
Love that hit.
Thanks for taking the time to come and sit down and chat with me today.
Generational talent. Thanks for liking the video and subscribing.